Well, hello everybody, and welcome to our Q&A live here at NOCD. I'm going to woo woo woo. That's our little. We don't have an intro song, so I'm gonna make a beat for a second.
Okay.
And Mackenzie is gonna say words to it. And
No.
by the way, I didn't know I was gonna do this.
What if I dance?
Exposure. Ready?
I can't think that fast.
See that? She wasn't expecting it.
I could dance.
Okay, ready? There you go. All right. See, getting it started here. Everybody's like, where's Dr. McGrath? The answer is not here. That's right. So you've got me, Tracie Ibrahim, therapist. For those of you that don't know, I'm a therapist at NOCD. I run our awesome community support group program for members who are members of OCD therapy. And I'm the chief compliance officer. So I'm here pretending to be Dr. McGrath. A more attractive version, honestly. And I'm here with the super fabulous.
Hi, I'm Mackenzie, and I am a support group host, and I'm just excited to get to hang out with my favorite boss in the whole world today.
Woo, woo.
My only boss favorite.
Well, welcome. We are here to answer your questions about stuff like, OCD, things that you can get treated for at NOCD. You can go to our socials and follow us and get good information. You can download our app for free. You can go to NOCD.com and set up a call for free to find out more about your insurance coverage. We take lots of different insurance and other good questions you might have, and our care team is ready to help you. So let us get started. So what do we've got here? It looks like Jack has a 3 in 1. So let's just answer this. We're going to answer number 3. We're going to answer them all like a sandwich.
Okay.
So thoughts. Oh, whoops. I highlighted the wrong one. Oh my goodness. It's the left. There it is. There it is. Do you love that? Okay. Doesn't understand what's going on in his head. Thoughts keep popping up. What if I will feel this way forever? What if I lose control? And they create huge rushes of anxiety. They come in waves, and then he's chilling, and then it keeps happening, and then he's like, how do I fix this? What is wrong with me? Tried stopping compulsions, but he doesn't feel better. I have an idea about this, and I know that you also have an idea about this. So a lot of times people will think they stop their compulsions because they don't know some of the other things they're doing are still compulsions. So I'll give you an example. When you say it's like the only thing you can think about. Well, when you have intrusive thoughts, images, urges, feelings, all the different things you can get, we don't want to think about them. They pop up and we kind of want to just leave them there, and we're doing something else with our attention. So it's kind of like background noise as opposed to front ground noise. It's not right here. It's not like water bottle. It's back here going like, you're going to do this, and isn't this bad? And I'm not paying attention. I'm not saying it's bad or good. I'm not even letting it upset my day. What do you think, Mackenzie?
I just did a video for NOCD on this, and I like to think of before like ERP therapy, like OCD is like when you're at a concert with your best friend and you're trying to have a conversation, but it's so loud that you can't hear it. So like, you know me, I'm either going to be at a One Direction concert or a Taylor Swift concert, and you can't function. And then, with ERP therapy, those thoughts become, like you said, like background noise, like elevator music or like music in a restaurant. Like it might not be your cup of tea. It might be really freaking annoying, but we can function and like we can continue to move on and move around with our day, having those things in the background.
Yeah, that's exactly right. I have some really intense level of OCD. There's not levels. I hate saying level because someone's going to be like, what level am I of OCD? Be like 11-teen. All of us are at 11-teen.
We're above the levels. We're on a whole other planet.
Yes, I have very well-controlled OCD for 20 years just using ERP. I happen to be medication resistant, so had to do it all myself with ERP, and it's fine. And it's great. And I still live a good life, a happy life with intrusions, but they're in the background. Sometimes they're louder. There are days where I'm like, oh, that's really loud. And I'm like, great. It's like you said, it's kind of like getting in an elevator and it's playing a dumb song you don't like. Eventually you'll get off the elevator. Eventually you'll stop hearing it. And trust me, you'll get back on the elevator and it'll come back to you. So we know this. So what I'd say is find the little compulsions you're doing, because nobody stops all compulsions, by the way. We all accidentally compulse sometimes. It's just about making it that you're compulsing less than you're actually not compulsing. So think of it like a balancing scale. If you're balancing on you're compulsing more than you're not compulsing, it's going to be louder. Oh.
Do you think too, like it also, for me, I think it's reminding ourselves of how far we've come to and knowing like, yeah, like I'm managing a mental health disorder without a cure. So there's going to be days that are louder than others, but like, I do know that I can get through it with those tools. And even when it gets loud, like I just have so much more confidence in myself to get through it.
That's exactly right. And that's with all themes. I think some people are like, my OCD is worse than yours. I have a different theme, or I wish I had your theme. And I'm sure somebody will ask about that later and we'll bring it up. But I just want to say, as somebody with all but like 2 or so themes, no, there are none that are better than any of them. They're all awesome. I love all of them equally. I'm kidding. I accept them all equally. I don't love or not love them. They just are.
That's why I call it my fruit salad of themes, because I've had them all.
Very nice. I love that. So apart from robbing us of happiness, peace, and living our best lives, is there any evidence that it's also bad for our physical health? My OCD is all centered around getting a serious illness. Time out. Little reassurance seeking here. I'm going to call it out, but I'm also going to partially answer without providing reassurance. So it sounds like you're afraid of getting an illness and you're asking, hey, does OCD cause physical illnesses? So you can see that what that is a reassurance seeking compulsion. But I know you also really want to know. And the answer is maybe. That's possible. Right? It's possible.
Yeah. I mean, too, like to pivot from the reassurance, like trying to get away from that, but still answer, like OCD was detrimental to my physical health. Like compulsions, you know, it tries to convince us that that's what's going to keep us safe. But like doing those compulsions made me so physically unwell, whether it was like not brushing my teeth, not eating, like all the things. And it's just one of those like aha moments of OCD, like convinces us if we do these things, we'll be safe, we'll be healthy, we'll be all these things. But the drama didn't really start. The problems didn't really start until I started doing the compulsions anyway.
Isn't that real? Like I have asthma, but my asthma got a little bit crazy when I was doing a lot of contamination compulsions, because I was using a lot of chemicals. There were a lot of chemicals I was breathing constantly, and my asthma was on fire. So, I mean, you know, exactly. Sometimes our compulsions is what makes us sick. You know, whether it's avoidance, not eating certain foods, eating too much food, not drinking enough, not going outside, but at the wrong, you know, situations. I mean, all these different things, you know, does OCD have a direct link to like, this is the disease you will get if you have OCD? The answer is no. There you go. That's 1% reassurance. You're welcome. All right. Well, oh, wait a minute. And Joe has a part 2. Sounds existential. Dying young and whether there is an afterlife once we die, and have I been good enough to go there if is one, and the ironic thing about it is that it's stopping me from living properly. So that was part 2 to the situation, which I just wanted to say that is an existential theme. And again, can't really have a perfect answer for what is going to happen, what is in the afterlife. Everybody has their own beliefs, and there's also leaps of faith. So it's an unanswerable question that nobody can answer. Will we die young? I don't know. Will we die old? I don't know. Will I die? I don't know. How much will my rent be in, a year? Will I,
$1 million?
Yes. Will I vacation in the Bahamas? No. The answer is no. I don't want to go to the Bahamas. So let's go with something I want to go to. Will I vacation in the UK? Hopefully. I don't know. So OCD is the doubting disorder because it makes you doubt everything, including giving you questions you cannot answer. And then your compulsions are trying to figure that out. So when we say don't compulse, including mental compulsions, we're really saying stop trying to figure it out. That's for every single theme, by the way, that you can make this work. Stop trying to figure it out. Am I contaminated? Am I of a different sexual orientation than I thought I was? Did this thing happen? Is this thing going to happen in the future? Right? Did I cheat on my partner? Is this the right relationship? What happens later if I die? When will I die? Am I going to get a serious illness? I mean, we can just keep on going with all, am I a cannibal? I mean, we can just go on forever. And, you're just like, listen, just stop trying to figure it out. That's how you stop compulsing, right? It's stop trying to figure it out. Every compulsion we do is trying to figure it out and trying to be safe from harm, trying to avoid problems. I do magical rituals to avoid my family dying or getting in accidents, right?
Yeah. No, yeah. I mean, my core fear, like mine is centered around like the fear of death. And I always say like I was so afraid of dying that I wasn't living. And like, what's the point in that? What's the point in, locking myself away in a little bubble in a little box? I'm becoming what I fear the most.
That's exactly right. People don't realize most of the times the compulsions they're doing go against what they're trying to be safe from. Like I always say this to people who say compulsively wash their hands. I'm like, you're washing away the protective layers that are keeping you safe. So now when you go out, you're even more likely to have a problem. Yep. And they're like, what? It's like, yes, you're more susceptible to problems because you wash your hands too much. And they're like, that's upsetting. Yes, it is. Or, oh, I isolate myself because I don't want to get germs of other people, or I don't want to get emotionally contaminated from other people, or whatever it is. You don't go around people, and then you do get sick more often because you don't have any immunity because you never go out.
I always said like post COVID, because like, I mean, I've always been bad about like contamination with cleaning and stuff, but clearly that was like a lot more. And I'm always like saying, 10 years from now, when there's like the commercial, it's like, if you use Lysol or Purell during 2020, you are entitled to compensation. Like, oh yeah, I put it all over my body. Thank you.
Seriously. All right, so let's see. Jack has seen 4 therapists, read every article, watched every video.
Every single one?
All of them. Downloaded OCD AI chatbots.
That
was compulsive. Tried exercises. All right. Meditation, breathing. Never want to do that for OCD. You name it. However, nothing is working. I don't know what to do. Jack, I hear your suffering. I definitely hear the suffering. So much. ERP is the gold standard treatment for OCD. So it's like having a therapist isn't the same as having a well-trained therapist that knows what they're doing necessarily. Sometimes you do. Sometimes you have a great therapist, but sometimes people don't follow through with like the homework that we give them, or they're not practicing what we're teaching in sessions at home. I do get people sometimes that, and I'm not saying you did this, by the way, I'm just giving some examples. I've had people come to me and I'm like, listen, seems like you want me to say magic words to you when you come to session, and then you go home and everything's great. I'm giving you tools, and then you take your toolbox home And then you decide if you're going to use it. I'm going to encourage you to use it. I'm going to hope you use it. I'm going to assign it to you. But if you don't open your toolbox, I can't do anything about that, and you're not going to get better. 1 hour session, 23 other hours in a day. Think about it. So a lot of what's important is, one, that you have a therapist telling you to do the right things. And with OCD, we never do breathing, deep breathing, or meditation. None of that has anything to do with what we do for ERP treatment for OCD, that is evidence-based practices. So also, OCD AI chatbots are one way that a lot of people compulse, as well as what ChatGPT. What else, Mac, has?
I didn't even know Reddit, Quora, or all these things until people like started telling me about them in groups. So I was like, oh wow, like Google was like had me on, you know, my last life, but you add all those other things too, and yeah, ChatGPT. I mean, it's just a playground for OCD. It's like Disneyland for it. But I would say too, like I did ERP therapy the first time I was, I think 28, 27. And I half-assed it. Like I was afraid. I like went to the one like BOTA sessions, and then I didn't continue like outside of that. And it wasn't until I did it a year later that like I could have been, I was given all the resources, all the things, but until I, you know, committed to doing it and like committed to doing the hard things, that was where I saw that progress and that change. And I think too, and Tracie, tell me if I'm wrong, but I think of ERP therapy like it's not about homework. It's a lifestyle change. Like it's literally every aspect of my life. When I feel uncomfortable, minus like a dark alley with a man holding a knife down the other side, like I lean into it. And it has to be constant. Like even now, even being in recovery, it's still something I have to constantly lean into.
That's absolutely right. I always tell people you don't arrive. You are always on an OCD recovery journey. 20 years deep, absolutely. It's very hard for OCD to trick me. I've been this way for a very long time, but in the very beginning, I assure you, I was willing to give up one thing. That was what I did. I was like, well, I'll do ERP. I will touch money. By the way, that was my thing. It was like one of many things I wouldn't touch. I would not touch change. I would deal with dollar bills, but and I was like, yeah, I'll do that. I'll do that exposure. I'll touch money. I dealt with it. I got better about it. I could touch it. And I was like, but that's it. I'm doing all the other compulsions. These are necessary. So I also didn't get better until I addressed every single area that I was compulsing and chose to stop doing them, and got a whole lot better. And now, and again, this is what happens. As you get better, how distressed you get from those intrusions goes down.
Right.
How much they bother you goes down. For some people, how frequently they happen, it can go down as well. And it's not miserable. So like I've probably had 100, okay, it's been 20 minutes. I've probably had about 20-ish intrusive thoughts, urges, images, or feelings since this started. That's just part of my background noise. I call it my theme song, which is whatever. It's harm OCD, it's suicidal OCD, it's homicidal OCD, it's contamination OCD. I didn't get any just right in the last 20 minutes because nothing, actually, that's not true. I scooted my chair to the left because I felt like I was not evenly in between. See, now I've got to undo it. So this is what we're talking about. Even I sneakily accidentally compulse sometimes, because as you can see, this delightful thing behind me here is supposed to be even, and I needed to be in the middle of it. And when I realized I wasn't, I started moving, and I'm like, wait. So see, I recognized that I was compulsing actually, but not till a few minutes later. We all accidentally compulse sometimes like that. But I caught myself, and in my recovery lifestyle, instead of going, yep, I noticed it. Oh, great. Nope, I'm undoing it. I'm going to be uneven for the rest of this time.
I love your unevenness.
Thank you. It just looks like something stabbing into my head now. So it's perfect. I love it. So that's building an OCD recovery lifestyle.
It does look like you have antlers.
Thank you. See, this is my antler shot. I love this. See, and then we welcome the discomfort. I have discomfort and anxiety about it, and I'm just going to allow it to be there because I can.
Love it.
All right. Take this one. What you got? Go, Mac.
Yeah. So I feel like the thoughts are now starting to jump onto everyone I really care about in my life and who are always there for me. And I'm starting to fear not being able to be comfortable around everyone. Well, that is how OCD works. It's ego dystonic, and it, goes against what we value most. It attacks what we value most. And, if it didn't attack things that we valued, then we wouldn't be afraid of it. Right. So, my OCD loved to play off my family's safety, mine, the hyper responsibility, all the things. Tracie, you'll know what video I'm talking about, but Dr. McGrath's video about inherent risk and the ceiling falling,
Yeah.
It's understanding that there's literally inherent risk everywhere to everyone, and OCD comes in and says, yeah, but you can't handle it here, here, and here. But I think the biggest thing for me when my OCD gets loud, so example, I took the girls to the beach today, and my OCD, one of the many things that I used to love was like the fear of getting a brain-eating amoeba. So fun.
Oh, I would love that for you, a brain-eating amoeba.
Right. And so I would never, I wouldn't take my kids to the pool. I wouldn't take them to the beach because that fear was so real. And I thought I was protecting them. In reality, kind of what we were talking about earlier, I was keeping them from being kids. I was doing more harm than the ocean or a pool would do. And so today we went to the beach. They had so much fun. We go all the time. Did my brain say, oh gosh, because Ellie has a talent for swallowing so much water. The amount of salt water in her brain is probably just unmatched. But
love that for her, and brain-eating amoebas, by the way, for sure.
But yeah, I think it's letting
her back. Check on her later. Make sure her brain's still
it's letting what I value. So my kids having fun, my kids having a good time, me being present as a mom. It's about valuing that, and that being louder than the fear of the brain-eating amoeba.
There it is. That's right. It's about following your values, and you fearing you're not going to be comfortable around them would then lead to an avoidance compulsion, which is then going to make it even worse, because then you're telling your brain, you're right. These people are not safe around you, or whatever it is. So just like I get harm OCD about my husband, about my daughter, about whatever, myself, it doesn't mean that I avoid those things. In ERP, we learn to go toward those things because we learn that it's not serious. So I just get so many intrusive thoughts about large murder knives that I keep one next to my computer at all times because it only makes sense. Right? So that's just built in there. So it's me telling myself, no problem. That's fine. It takes care of, right, suicide and murder themes all at once. One piece of kitchenware. Great. That's just me living my lifestyle. It's been there for so long. And so we don't want to avoid just because OCD is saying something scary, because clearly we don't have to care about that. Oh, just wanted to say, because of Tracie and everything she shared, I'm proof that ERP works. Thank you, Tracie and NOCD. You're the goat. Thank you. That's so sweet. You know what's funny? Somebody said I was the goat, and I thought that they were insulting me. And calling
my goodness.
I was like, goats aren't even cute, and they have beards. So I was like, what are you saying about me? And I was like,
they have beards.
And then somebody told me what it meant, and I was like, oh, thank you then. I'm like, you're a, I don't know what, you're a camel. All right. Camel face. How about that? What do you do with obsessive note taking? Oh, well, you stop obsessively note taking. Really,
the opposite.
That's actually the answer. Do you have a deeper answer than that?
I think it's the same like as anything. And I hate that because sometimes I feel like it sounds like dismissive, but it's
Does,
true.
but it's miserable, right?
I know. It's really, no matter how OCD decides to show up, whatever theme, whatever compulsion it's trying to get us to do, like we treat it the same way every single time. So if my brain is screaming at me that, even though I washed my hands once, I still need to go do it again, I'm not going to. I'm going to do the opposite of what like it's telling me to. And I think one of the biggest ways that OCD keeps a hold on us is that tricky aspect of like, oh, if I show up a different way, you don't know how to fight me. You don't know how to beat me. But the reality is we do, because it's exactly the same every single time.
It actually is. It's so boring. I always tell everyone OCD is one of the most boring disorders. It's also the most miserable, but when it's out of control. When it's in control, it's actually not that bad. But yeah, it's just one of those situations when you have OCD, it's really obvious. It's like, don't do the thing, but it feels like you need to. I used to get weird about writing. I say weird, like when I was a child, my compulsion was I needed to write as small as possible, but I don't remember why anymore, what this was about. But I would like microscopically like write on my papers, and the teachers couldn't read them, and it like became a whole issue. But I couldn't write any line. Well, I could have. I didn't want to, and I couldn't explain why. And I still don't remember what the magical thing was about this. But now I can see how ridiculous it was. But at the time, I was like, oh my gosh, Or when I was in college, and I have to read that over and over, and then it would turn into I have to read it forward and then backward and then forward, and I'm like, whoa, now nothing makes sense. But it felt super urgent. Now, obviously, I can be like, okay, like I'm not going to do that now. Obviously, but it felt like I needed to do it, or something was like something bad was going to happen, and whatever it was, I was going to miss something, or whatever it was. So it feels real, but we still can't do anything about it. Well, this is one of my favorite situations. Not sure if neutralizing is the same as dismissing thoughts. I tend to walk into the trap of sitting with thoughts as something I have to do, like immerse myself in the thoughts. I love that. It's basically the opposite of what you're supposed to do. So all trying to do something with thoughts, doesn't matter what it is you're trying to do, thought block, thought dismiss, thought neutralize, thought replace. There's suppression, review, all the things. If you're trying to do stuff with your thoughts, it's a problem because you don't control your thoughts. So when you say neutralizing, sounds more like swimming in, right? You have to immerse yourself in the thoughts. Like I imagine you jumping into a pool of compulsive thoughts and just drowning in them, which is the opposite of what we want to do. So when we say sit with the thoughts, we don't actually mean sit while eating or swimming in the thoughts. What we mean is like this. Here is the thought. It's over here, and I'm over here. I'm sitting, and it's with me in that I don't have control over it, right? Because it's in my brain. But I don't want to immerse myself in it because then I'm going to be miserable and compulsing, right? Like, what do you think?
Yeah, I think, it was Dr. McGrath. Dr. McGrath always tells me to say live with it versus like, because that makes like we're taking it with us, and like kind of like what you're saying, like it's coming with it. But like I like to think about it like I said this the other day in group, and somebody did not know Mean Girls, the movie, and I was like gutted. But I said, where she's like, get in, loser, we're going shopping. That's how I like to think about like me to my thoughts, like to my OCD, like I'm still going on with my day, like get in if you're going to get in, but I'm going. So like, it's just coming with us, and we're not trying to get rid of anything because you can't get rid of the thoughts. You can't keep thoughts from coming. So we just have to learn to go with them.
That's right. And if you stop giving them any type of power by saying that they're bad or dangerous or you don't like them, then they just become neutral. They just are, like a potato or a pen
A
or
potato.
paper. I got that from one of my sweet associate therapists. She was describing it as a nothing. She goes, like a potato. So yeah, that's why you get more anxious, is that it's actually a compulsion, and anxiety compulsions make anxiety worse.
Yeah, like
Oh,
right now, my husband's cooking, and my brain's like, wonder if he's washing his hands after he touches raw meat.
he's not.
But
He
I'm
also
sitting
went to the bathroom first.
yeah, but I'm sitting here doing group and letting it be.
I love that. You're gonna have some poop spaghetti later.
Yum, my favorite.
Oh, I hope there's brown sauce on whatever it is he's making. Maybe it's gravy. Can we talk about somatic OCD? Can it be anything bodily? Obsessed with thinking there's something in my molar and can't. Oh, yeah. Yeah. Whoa. I've had the molar one. By the way, I've had that. I was like, is that a chip? Have you had that too?
Yeah, but I think we've had this conversation. Like the bathroom for me, like at night, is huge. And then like I used to, when I was like afraid, a headache was a brain tumor or like whatever, I would zero in on like my pulse, and like I could feel my pulse and all the things. Yeah.
Yeah, it can be about anything, whatever. This is the craziest one. Actually, all of them are the craziest one that I feel at any given time. So somebody told me a story that they had athlete's foot. Not a big deal, but them telling that to me made in between two specific toes on one foot itch for weeks. And I was like checking it. And then I was like, what are you checking? And then I was like, why is it so itchy? And it took me a minute to realize I had just gotten somatic OCD over this thing that somebody told me. And then I was like, why would it only be between two toes on one foot? And I can't see anything. It's driving me nuts. And then I was like, is there something stuck to my molar? And I kept checking and checking and checking. And I'm like, stop it. Just stop. I'm like, I'm about to pull my molar out at this point.
Yeah. It's there's nothing off limits when it comes to OCD.
No, if it's possible, it's yes, absolutely. Yeah. One of my worst ones is the feeling of a full bladder, feeling like I'm about to pee my pants, basically. And of course, even though I go to the bathroom every single night right before I lay down, I make sure I don't drink too much. I do all these things. Doesn't matter. I lay down and I'm like, did you go to the bathroom? And I'm like, don't even start with me, brother. Don't even start with me.
That slight, like, uncomfortable feeling. It's like,
do you feel your bladder? Yes. Do you feel how full it is? Yes.
And have you ever, when you go, like, if your brain tries, like, if you don't go straight to sleep, it's like, okay, well, if I look at my phone for a second, or I like have a conversation really quick with my husband, like, then it's like, oh no, I took too much time. Like, I have to go now because I'm uncomfortable. Like,
yes. Yep. Every night I have a ban on myself. You may not get up. If you need to go to the bathroom, you will be woken upon your sleep and you will go to the bathroom. And I'm like, great. And of course, I'm trying to fall asleep. And it's a lot of nights. Absolutely. Every night I feel it, but some nights, yeah, it's a little louder than other nights. Yep. Gotta love it. You see, I forgot about that I have that somatic thing. I'm telling you, I'm pretty sure I have like all but two things. I'm sure of it.
You could probably find those two if we looked hard enough.
I'm sure you probably could. Can you have an obsession for over 10 years and it starts to no longer bother you if you do great ERP around it? Have you ever had an obsession for over 10 years?
Well, I mean, like death. Like, I'm afraid of, like, death, like, at its core, like, afraid of dying, obsessed with, like, the fear of that. But if we do ERP therapy, then it all gets quiet, I guess. I mean, for me, I wake up every day and I'm like, okay, you know what? I'm going to get triggered today. My OCD is going to get triggered today because there's no avoiding it, right? So I might come up with a thought that I had 10 years ago. I might be hosting a group and I'm like, shit, I forgot about that one. And now I'm, stuck on it again. And again, we just have to lean in to that uncomfortableness, and that will help it not bother us.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I've had OCD since I was 4, and now I'm 12. Just kidding. Now
I was like, wait, what? I was like,
you're doing the math. You're
it
like,
was. I failed college algebra, Tracie.
okay, well, do I look 12?
No.
Gosh. Yes is the answer. Yes, a very attractive 12-year-old. No, so I'm 51 now. Do the math. I've had OCD. Some of my themes, call them my ride or die themes. I still have. Other ones sort of come and go. Most of them stay. But when you say no longer bother you, yes, absolutely. Most things don't bother me anymore at all. And my contamination disgust-based trigger for poop and dirty sponges, those remain. But I definitely, it's a lot less bad than it used to be.
For sure.
All right. Do you want to take this one? Do you want me to take this one?
Sorry, I'm reading it. Well, are we talking about pedophilia OCD?
That's a great question. I think it has to do with, unless it's the medical condition, polycystic ovarian syndrome, maybe? No?
Maybe we'll have, maybe Alice could clarify in the chat.
If you clarify for us exactly what POC you're talking about, we are going to answer your question. Oh, hold on a second here. Frank. I've done ERP in a 1 to 2 times a week IOP PHP setting. Really don't know what to do anymore. It's this way forever. I have themes scarier that can't be found online to research. What about deep TMS? Take that one. Yeah. So first of all, searching for themes online is going to be a compulsion that's making your OCD worse. So let's point that out. Second, not all themes are mentioned / named in places. We just happen to have a list of very commonly spoken about themes. So don't think if something's bothering you that's not, you can't find it on a list, that it doesn't exist. OCD attacks anything, and it can fall under anything. So what about deep TMS? We are not medical providers, but deep TMS does have some research support for addressing OCD, typically as a 3rd-line treatment, meaning that they're going to want you to exhaust therapy and medication treatments before considering you for something of that nature. But you're going to want to talk to your medical provider about that.
Yeah, I have a love-hate with themes for this reason, because, again, you don't go to therapy and they're like, oh, I have this theme. And they're like, sorry, we can't treat you. It's the same no matter how it shows up. I love them because it gives us a way to put a face to a name. But OCD can, like Tracie said, it can be anything. It can show up in any way. And we just talk about the ones that are most commonly talked about.
There it is. Wow, we have a lot of questions. So just a reminder to anyone who's interested in finding out about our services, you can go to NOCD.com. You can follow us on our socials. You can download our app for free and join our community for free. And if you are a member of NOCD receiving treatment from us, you can go to support groups that are free 7 days a week. And the fabulous Mackenzie runs some of those support groups, and so do I. Yay. I'm known as Taboo Tracie because I run the taboo groups. Woo woo. Because that's my favorite stuff to talk about. Obviously.
You're meant for those groups. Meant for it.
Kind of feels that way. Is it wrong to... so we have a million questions. I'm going to see if we can get through some slightly faster. Is it wrong to choose my orientation despite what feelings or thoughts I may have? I have sexual orientation OCD. So I don't know what choose my orientation means, but here's what I would say. Whatever you whatever was your orientation before OCD hit, OCD doesn't change our values. It doesn't change how we think. It doesn't change who we are. It doesn't change who we love or who we're attracted to. So this is one of those themes, like all themes, where we stop trying to figure it out and you follow what you know. Don't try to figure out what you know. Go with what you know. But I'm confused. What did you know before it hit that thing, right?
Yes.
So it's not wrong to choose your orientation. We don't usually choose our orientation anyway. It happens to us, right? Like I can't just become something I am not. I can become confused with OCD doubt, though. Okay. I think this is a very quick one. This one is wondering about medicine. How helpful can it be with pedophilic OCD? Struggle with ERP advice, saying maybe, maybe not. I'm Christian. I struggle with trying to be okay with that uncertainty. So
again, treatment, like it's the same no matter how it shows up, and
it is.
Medication is not in everyone's story. It's just what you and your team that you surround yourself with decides is best for your journey. And
yeah, and all themes are the same in terms of OCD. I hear you're saying, like, can medication be helpful with POCD? But there's only OCD, so we never diagnose somebody with a kind of OCD. There's just OCD, and then there's the different flavors or themes that it has. The medication that you can talk to a medication prescriber about, we treat all of OCD, just OCD, which would include POCD. It's not, there's not a different medication for different themes. And
oh my gosh, it's already so hard to figure out like a good SSRI. Could you imagine if you had to like
by theme
dissect it even more to like
that'd be a lot. And I want to make very clear about something, because this is a struggle. When we say maybe, maybe not about something, we're not asking you to say you have to accept that you are a pedophile, or you have to accept that you know that's your truth. That's not what we're saying when we sit with uncertainty. What we're saying is stop trying to figure it out. Leave it alone. Accept that you have OCD. Accept that you're going to get endless intrusive doubts. And if it's not about pedophilic OCD, it's going to be about something else under the OCD umbrella. And you're just like this theme, you're going to have to not try to figure it out. Just like the person in the last one. Don't try to figure out your sexual orientation. It doesn't mean you don't know. You do know. You know because you know that this is disturbing to you. You know that this is bothering you. So you know what goes against your values. You feel upset because you're experiencing things that are going against your values, and that's why it's so upsetting to you. So all right, you want to answer this one quickly?
Yeah, sure. So I clearly can't give direct advice. For me, rumination, it's tricky because compulsions sometimes happen second nature, but mental compulsions, the only one in our head to hold us accountable is ourselves. So they're tricky. For me, I think one of the biggest tools that I use when I get stuck ruminating, because it happens, I try to pull myself back to the present, which is so different than distraction or avoidance, because I pull myself back to what I was doing before OCD came in and like claw machined me out of where I was. And I think again, we're not stopping thoughts. But with rumination, it is a compulsion and we're going down the rabbit hole. And so, reminding myself to like pull back into where I was. Does that make sense?
It does make sense. People are like, sorry, mental compulsion, rumination. I have Puro, which don't get me started on that. Yeah, we won't even get there. You can have rumination and you can stop it. And I do tests all the time on people. What I do is I tell them, and you know this if you've been to my support groups, ruminate as hard as you can. Really think about that thing. And then grab a little, magazine or something, open it, and read me the article while also ruminating hard. And you know what? They can't. Why? Because they had to put their focus somewhere else. You can break out of rumination. So just want to say that. It's not, and again, you're worried about suppressing your thoughts. You can't. Nobody could suppress their thoughts. Otherwise, we wouldn't have OCD. We would just suppress our thoughts, and then we wouldn't have OCD. We would have suppressed thoughts, which sounds amazing. Nobody can suppress their thoughts. Right. Hello, Rhonda. I've been away for a while. Welcome back. Oh my God, Tracie, your story about your cell phone falling into the chicken coop still helps me 2 years later. Aw, I'm so glad. Yeah, it fell in poo, and then I picked it up. It was really gross, by the way.
But did you lick it? Just kidding.
You know what? I did not, because I don't lick things when I see poo on them. I just lick it when it's uncertain.
That's very bad.
Off the floor. Tracie, how did you find out you're medication resistant? The way that I found that out is, you're going to love it. No, I'm kidding. You're not going to love it. Is that I was put on every type of medication, every combination, all the doses, all the way up, all the way down, sideways. And it was basically like I was drinking water. Nothing changed until I did ERP. So that's how I found out I was medication resistant. And now that I've done enough ERP to make it fine to have OCD, I don't regret that. Now, if somebody said there's a medication that makes it forever go away, you never have to think about it again, everybody would take that. Of course. I would prefer to not show up to amazing events while having intrusive thoughts of harm, but I'm also okay doing it. I have a great time, and it's just along for the ride. So
yeah. And also I think too, medication is a part of my story, but I was put on medication when it was the summer after 8th grade, but I continued to suffer until I was 28 because it wasn't enough. It's not a cure-all. That ERP therapy is what saved my life.
Yeah, we have to learn how to behave our way out of OCD. That's the issue. So research supports that of 3 things they tested. There were studies. If you do medication by itself, it's the least helpful. If you do therapy by itself, it's number 2. And medication and ERP was number 1 for people who medication works for. Me, I fall under number 2 because number 1 didn't work. So for me, number 2 is the number 1. There you go. We have to learn how to live the lifestyle. All right. Speed answers. What am I supposed to do when my anxiety is so overwhelming? I hate that I cannot figure out what I said or did wrong. Makes me feel like I ain't strong enough.
We can't try to figure it out. There, I was singing.
Yeah, she's saying, I can't figure it out, because the more you try to figure it out, the more confused you get. Fun fact, not so fun fact, I should say. People who have a lot of times false memory OCD comes from trying to figure something out for so long that your brain can't deal with the fact that you can't figure it out, and it starts filling in the blanks with things that aren't true, and then you believe those. So
confusing ourselves.
Very confusing. So it's there are people, I'm not even going to say it. But anyway, yeah, that's a problem. Anxious about the new school year. Find myself checking and then freaking out because I think I have a groanal response. Feel like I'm drowning. So against who I am and my values. Underline that last sentence. It's against who I am and my values. That's how we know it's OCD. Groanal response. By the way, Dr. McGrath hates how I say groanal, so I refuse to change it. Groanal. It's for you, sir. He said I don't say it right, and I'm okay with that. I'm not just right. So self-checking. What is that? It's compulsion. Freaking out because you think you have a groanal response. Well, guess what? Groanal response. Well, we could go on for days about groanal response. It's a feeling in your genitals. You don't want it. but it happens. It happens for a number of reasons. It never happens because whatever you're freaking out about is enjoyable. But then you're like, what if it does mean that? And you're checking, and it's very compulsive. I always say congratulate yourself on grown response because it means your growing works. See, that's a positive twist on it that people don't ever think about. What if you never had a response? Then you'd be sad. It's that you decided that
You'd be sad.
and you would decide that that it was a problem. You would actually have a different problem. See? So again, we're not going to try to figure this out. Somebody said ChatGPT has been a serious compulsion, and I just want to remind people, please stop asking. It's a computer. It's a computer. It's not a person. Goodness gracious.
I love ChatGPT for things other than OCD, but
not me.
For OCD, I
have decided never to use. I just don't. I used it once, and then I was like, no, I will come up with my own original ideas at all times. I will never use this. And I've only
I've been using it. We're planning a trip to Ireland, so I've been using it for that, and it's very helpful.
That sounds amazing and smart. You know what I do? I would just do it the hard way, and I would look at each thing, and it would take me days, and we will both get to the same result.
To each their own.
Exactly. But don't compulse about it. Plan your trip to Ireland is what we're saying. Okay. All right. We have a few minutes left here. You want to take this one?
Yeah. Okay. So as my birthday approaches, I get really depressed because I have not fully recovered from OCD. Any tips on dealing with this? Ooh, my first favorite thing to say to stuff like this is there's a common misconception that recovery means the absence of OCD. And that's not true, because then we would have a cure, which would be great, but we don't. And so, recovery, I think, is going to look a little different for everyone, but it's value over fear, right? And knowing that, it's valid that this is frustrating. It's valid that I'm air traffic controlling my thoughts. This is spam. This is primary inbox. Like, it's annoying. It's frustrating. However, I can do it. I can function. I can let it be background noise. The other piece to that too, Tracie, I would love to get your opinion on this. When birthdays were coming up, or like holidays, or the trip to Ireland, like, my OCD used to always get so much louder. It was like, oh, my birthday's coming up. I love my birthday. I have to make sure I don't die. I can't get sick. I can't get what logic sense does that make? But those would always trigger my OCD to feel a lot louder. Like anything I was looking forward to, I guess.
Absolutely. It comes to people's weddings sometimes. It can come to your baby shower. It can come to your vacation. I have comorbid, or at the same time, depression and OCD disorders, and birthdays usually make me sad. Not because of OCD. Why do they make me sad? I don't know why, and I'm not going to try to figure it out. But I think it's just because I'm getting older. That's my guess. I'm not really sure. Definitely not going to try to figure it out. I feel like it's going to turn into existential OCD. I try to figure it out. I'm safe as just leaving it there.
I will celebrate your birthday so wholeheartedly this year. I'm a birthday girly. I do birthday months, not birthdays.
Wow. Yeah. No, I used to like them when it was like, oh, ice cream and party. Now I'm like, how old? And I'm like,
12. No. You're 12.
Nobody discussed this. Yes, I will have my 13th birthday. I love that Kathleen says me not being in the center is bothering her as well, and she doesn't even have OCD. Perfect. Good. It's been bothering me the whole time. I'm legitimately so triggered by not being in the middle where I want to be.
I honestly forgot about it, but now I'm reminded that you're the cutest reindeer ever. With your little antlers.
Okay, let's do it. All right. We only have a few minutes, but I think we can do this. A speck or spot of dirt 10 feet away will drive me crazy till I wipe it, pick it up, get rid of it. I will suffer for days and not be functional if I refuse to do it. It's not easy to do. It's not easy to just not do it. I hear what you're saying. It's also not easy when you do it because it makes your OCD worse and it makes you notice all of the dots and spots. And I will say this about it. When my contamination OCD was really bad, I spied things that eagles could not see. I was like scanning my environment for little bits and pieces. And when you stop doing that by not engaging in it, by not going to clean, wipe, do whatever, it actually gets better over time. And then you can start to notice those spots and not feel so urgent to clean them. So that's hopeful.
I struggle with that a lot with contamination too, like hyper focused, hyper fixated on things. And I remember talking to my therapist and I was like, I don't know how I can ever not be this way. Like I'm always going to see a cashier with a blue Band-Aid. I'm always going to think some little black speck is mouse poop. And it really like does fade and fizzle out. And like, is it still there sometimes? Absolutely. But like we're so hyper fixated and hyper focused on those things.
Absolutely. Lovely C says, I really wish sleep was more recognized subtype. You've tried CBT for insomnia, but it makes your anxiety worse. It's a topic not a lot of people understand. You got sleep coaching. They don't understand OCD. You know, says you're an ERP for it, so you're hopeful. I am also hopeful for you because my OCD also attacks sleep in the past and also sometimes currently. There are things I have to do, like I can't have my clock or phone where I can see the time because I will be like, this many minutes until this, like this many hours till you wake up. Now you lost more sleep. 11 less minutes of sleep for you. And I'm
my gosh. When I stay up watching Netflix when I know I shouldn't, because I have like to do things in the morning, I'll be like, if it's 11 o'clock, I'll be like, okay, 11 to 1, 1 to 2, 2 to 3, 3 to 4. All right, I'm going to get 5 hours of sleep unless I turn this off right now. And then I'll watch it for another hour. And I'm like, shit, now I only have 4 hours of sleep. I do that. It happens just like inadvertently.
Yep, I recognized it as OCD not too long ago. I now turn my alarm clock over because what I do is I'm like, X amount of hours and minutes until you have to wake up. And then I turn over and then I'm like, X amount. I actually started a couple years ago sleeping with an eye mask and I just don't take it off. So that helps. Alyssa falls asleep doing ERP sometimes. Excellent.
So relaxing. I'm just kidding.
Yes, this is just a hopeful note by Steven. It's really tough not to give in to doing a compulsion, but keep working at it. We'll get better and retrain your brain. That is true. All right, we have 2 more minutes. Oh, and also Steven says cutting down sugar and caffeine helps. Let's see, I'm looking for something else here. I was born this way, baby. That's a great one. All right, we're going to take one more. And it's from Terracotta Ciabatta again. So my brain keeps telling me to talk back to my OCD, but I usually just get stuck with trying to come up with a good comeback. Will OCD fizzle to the background if I leave it unanswered or unchecked? Yes. This is what we call non-engagement responses. Non-engagement means don't do anything. So when you're at the point of sort of recovery of OCD journey where Mackenzie and I are, you don't respond back. Because if I had to respond back to everything that was being said, I would not have time to work, eat, sleep. I'd be like, no, why? Are you an idiot? Obviously. Oh my gosh. Maybe not. Do. I love that for me. What? Crazy. Yes. No. Get in the back. What is happening? That's what I would look like if I was answering all the time. I can't live that way. You can't live that way. We can't live that way. So this is what I do. It's just running in the background, and I'm like, dun, 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 dun. I'm here with Mackenzie. Yeah, and all of you. Yay, and we're talking.
Also, you can have fun with non-engagement. They don't have, it doesn't have to be like cookie. Like, I'll be like, get the hell out of here. Or not today. Like, no, thank you. Like, you can have fun with it.
Absolutely. And every once in a while, I don't mean to answer it and I just do. It's usually a curse word, by the way. It's like when I keep doing something and then things keep happening to trigger me. And it's like the 12th thing in a row. I might drop an F-bomb, but like that's, it's not really a response. It's more like expressing feelings.
When my driving OCD wants me to turn around, that will be the times that I still I'm like, shut up. Shut up.
Gotta love it. Well, thank you so much for joining us today. I hope that you learned something. I hope that you can download our app for free. Go to NOCD.com, set up a free consultation with our care team, learn more about our services, and go to our socials, find all of our fun and very factual resources. We have blog posts. We have YouTube videos. I feel like there's not a social that we aren't on, but then again, you should join all of them. Sure. All right. Thank you so much. We hope to see you again soon. And if Patrick McGrath, Sir Dr. McGrath, comes back on a different Wednesday, then I guess you'll see him instead. All right. Peace out, y'all. All right. We're going to keep it out dancing. Peace.